Okay, welcome back. We are back into Need for Speed Payback that loves to take your money for $5 and give you two cars for it. And it is this time of the year when Castrol Motorola like type of oil fluid for your cars. It's called Castrol Edge. That's what it is. I kind of murdered it at the beginning, probably very terribly, but they make odor, they make motor oil. You know how that works. They collaborated with Need for Speed for their shitty game, basically, for you to do three types of events with doing. Using these special customized cars. You cannot have these cars after you have completed these three trial missions, even though I wish you kind of could, because the wraps on them look pretty sick. There's also um, a Land Rover SVR, if I'm not mistaken, or SCR. I'm not sure if on that the acronym at the end of the Land Rover, but it's one of the newer ones of the Evoque type of line that Land Rover produces. That is in the game. I know that if you are into modding and you're into the hacking scene on Need for Speed Payback, that will be playable and you can mess with it a whole bunch and it's pretty interesting. But currently, it is not accessible to the end user to be able to access the Land Rover. Um, my thoughts on how these time trials are, they're really easy. I got the best 2 out of 3 for doing these. For when I completed them, the first two I completed, I was pretty successful in completing them very quickly. But the very last one, I would have had, but um, I'm having problems with how this game wants to be retarded and the way it's handling is and what I'm trying to do in the game. So I would have had 3 out of 3 with the best times and by like a hair of like 1 or 2 seconds. But the first two here I completed. I was very successful with my mission of completion with completing these. There's no rewards or anything that you get after completing these. All you do is just get a completionist, like whoop de doo, you finish them, like that's it basically. I mean, it's not really even that either, but it's just like cool, yippee, you had something to come back to do in the game, and you'd play it for 5 minutes and leave basically. There isn't anything to still do Need for Speed Payback except for it taking your money. They released the Firebird and the Aston Martin DB5. They're available to all specs. You get super build with them also, so they're just like a derelict basically. That's kind of cool. But other than that, they're nothing too special. Um, I haven't really put much time into actually like building them and putting mod cards into them. I've only just used just the quick upgrade option that you can just buy with the in-game currency that you can't buy basically with max kind of like leveling them out basically, with a decent margin of like 20 like points of like not having them fully max, but just max enough that like you can get a feel for how the car handles. They're not very quick, but once you've put some time and invested into modding them, they are pretty decent. They look pretty awesome. They're nothing too special other than any other card that you would experience in the game. Every car has its purpose in this game, and they're just not quick enough. So I would recommend you saving your money, unless you just want them for nostalgic sake. They're not gonna go anywhere, and you can just have the cars and not have to worry about, oh boy, I missed out on that one time limited opportunity of having that car, because it's paid DLC and they're not going to go anywhere. So you'll have full access to them when you buy them. You get them for free for 0 credits in the game, which is pretty nice, but I care less about that. Basically, I would have liked to have just seen them be in the game for free, but they were just like, we're gonna put some more cars into the game, roughly three, including the Land Rover, and the Land Rover may come around for being another super build that we might get later. It's not determined. But I haven't been in the hacking scene too much, except for using trainers and modding the nitro system and leveling system, basically. But other than that, accessing the Land Rover, it looks kind of cool from what I've seen and what people have done. I have recently joined a Discord that has been showing off mods and hacks and things like that. This car that you can see on screen right now, it looks pretty good. Modeling looks pretty clean and everything. I can also say that the textures on these cars seem as though they're baked into the car. They don't look very clean or crisp or anything. They look a little bit pixelated, especially when they're very close up. But it is kind of interesting to have special events like this with the Castrol Edge and what they have done. I'd like to see more of these things where, like, maybe EA or Ghost Games, whoever it is, could have more interesting ways to implement these. It was pretty interesting. Maybe there could be a tie-in with the story where maybe one of the antagonists is in the story, like one of the evil people, maybe put a spin of the Cars 2 type of idea on it, where the type of gasoline that they're using in their car could, by some other external means, could make them blow up, especially within this game storyline with the ECU problems and modding and hacking, where they're using ECUs and custom modding and tuning to their cars, and evilly type of, like, deceitfully, basically, um, getting an advantage over their opponents in the game. So maybe there could be a tie-in with the oil and this kind of, like, motor oil with Castrol Edge that could be something that some type of evil doer could use in the storyline to kind of tie in with a special event. All we really got was just the three. Uh, all we really did get was just time events, and that was it. Go from A to B, be timed, and that was it basically. Nothing more, nothing less. It seems as though this is not a time limited event. You can do these events as many times as you like, come back to them later on. That's what it seems like. It's not confirmed if that's really what may happen. These events for the time trials might just stay around for a long time, or forever as long as the game's around, which is pretty interesting. So maybe we'll see more type of implementations of this, and there'll be a little bit more interest into seeing things like this. But other than that, I could care less about this and actually have, like, maybe 5 or 7 new cars that are like something that's like more out of this world. But then again, like, jokingly, we're dealing with EA and Ghost here basically, so they just care about the money. They don't care about the cars and anything that they could put into the game. Relatively speaking, they could have just put they could have charged you $5 for they could have charged you $5 for one car, basically, like the Firebird Trans Am, Pontiac, that you want to call it, whatever. So I mean, they didn't do that. They at least gave us two cars. But if you want to buy just the Trans Am or just the DB5, you would have to. You can buy it as a bundle for 5, or you can buy them individually by themselves without a super build option, and have that restricted by having either both of the cars as a package with a super build or individually without a super build. I don't understand the reasoning of this and why they're trying to do this, but maybe it's another ploy or type of, like, a thing to maybe part players apart from people that buy these cars or use them. So that is something to look out for. That super builds, you will not have them unless you buy the full bundle package of these cars. So it's kind of irritating. More of a paywall, more or less, of that. And Yeah, they're pretty decent, cool cars. They look like nice classics and really interesting. But other than that, personally for me, um, they are cool. They are okay on the acceleration and how fast they are. But then again, like just like any other car in the game, they just look pretty basically. So save your money. Don't worry about them. Um, Other than that, if you just care about how they look, it is not worth it. But if you love handling your handing your wallet over to EA, I meant to say, then so be it, and let them take your money as they keep on releasing more cars that are just meaningless and trash. That you know, like, hey, cool, like you see somebody on public lobbies, like with the when you play online with somebody and say, oh, what's that car? How can I get it? Oh yeah, you just buy it, and like it just kind of like takes the value out of it. I don't feel like that should be how that should be, but then again, we're talking about a money hungry company here that just doesn't care about its player base, doesn't want to add real content to the game, and just wants to just see this game suffer anyways. So this is all I really got for this video. Hopefully it was a little bit interesting. It's not really definitely entertaining at all, but it's just an update on what's going on into the universe of Need for Speed Payback, um, kind of like things like that, basically. Need for Speed Payback, I don't really care for anymore. Like, yeah, it's cool, it's decent to come back for, but even the weekly challenge cars that come around, they only had 6 cars, and it's been double that now for the weeks that they've had of like 12 weeks now, and they've all rotated, and they didn't add enough variance to the pool of cars that come around each week. So it's kind of lackluster to even log in every week. I only did it for 6 weeks, and then like, oh boy, I got all the cars now. It's not worth it anymore. So that's kind of it for this video. It's kind of boring. It's kind of decent, but other than that, hopefully somebody got something out of this, and try to do a little bit more, few uploads here, do some other content, maybe some Warframe content because I'm bored. I've been playing that a lot more. Maybe I'll do some boss, how to defeat them quickly type of video because I've been doing a lot of that basically. But other than that, racing games could care less for right now.